coming live out of the Living Large Las Vegas studios. So Barry, how you been, brother?
Well, I'll tell you what, KJ, it's been a long time coming since we first started kicking it back in K210 back in PSAB, man, back in the 90s, yeah?
Yeah, that's a long, long time. But there's some goodness to that because when you're friends for a long time, you get to see the first chapter, the middle chapter, and work together on the end chapters. So what's going on with Exercise Elite? I think you noticed that I'm representing your special 4th of July um, audition shirt.
Yeah, looking good over there with the little red, white, and blue going on. Well, Exercise Elite, we're a brand new exercise performance, athletic performance company here in Las Vegas. Me and my partner, Dan Iden, we started Exercise Elite back in December of 2019. We've definitely had our ups and downs over this last 3 months, trying to keep things going through this quarantine and social distancing and things like that. But we work with athletes around the valley. We do exercise performance in most major sports. We do some athletic recovery stuff as well. So ACL, MCL recovery work, shoulder work, lower back, hips, and things like that. So we're very, very fortunate to have a growing number of young athletes throughout the valley. So we've been actually endorsed from the PBR baseball writing folks. Those are the guys that do all the rankings for all the high school baseball players here within the entire state. So we're looking forward to doing some work with them, and we got some pretty high level athletes that we got working with us right now. So it's really exciting.
Man, that is awesome. So I've always known you to be a very caring person, and it's funny because you have dedicated yourself currently to developing young athletes, recovery. But you're retired Air Force too. Like I said, that's where we met, right? So tell me about your journey through the Air Force, through retirement. What made you decide, hey, I want to continue to serve and take care of people?
Okay. Well, I came in the Air Force in 1988. Went basically right after high school, just to try to get away and try to find my own way in life, and found my way into the Air Force. Enjoyed my entire 20-year career. I did most of my stuff in the what we would call services. So we did hotel, restaurant management, things like that, mortuary affairs, recreation, and fitness as well. So I kind of fell into the fitness side back in 1996. I got my first personal training certification through the Air Force in the Cooper's Clinic in 1996. Used that quite a bit as I traveled around. Most of the time, I wasn't lucky enough to actually work in fitness centers on the actual bases themselves. But when we would deploy, they saw most of the times the leadership would see that I had that Cooper certification, and I got to start honing my skills on exercise prescriptions and helping people out back then. About the late 90s is really when I really started working with exercise prescriptions and working with Air Force athletes. Did that for a number of years, kind of just part-time, a little bit. 2008 rolls around. It's time for me to retire. I had no idea what I wanted to do with my adult life. I was here in Las Vegas. I actually retired in 2008 from Las Vegas, Nellis Air Force Base. My kids at the time, they were with their mom in Fort Myers, Florida. So I decided that I was going to go to Florida to spend some time with them because they were my son was 13 and my daughter was 8. So wanted to spend some time with them, and had a buddy of mine, an Air Force buddy of mine, said, hey, what do you plan on doing after you retire? I said, I have no idea. I was sending out all sorts of applications and resumes to food service corporations, and you name it, I was doing it. Then one day he comes in and he says, hey, you ever thought about being an AFJRTC instructor?
Oh, that's awesome.
I was like, no. Said, I kind of want to get out of this uniform and kind of,
Do some other things.
yeah, do some other things, exactly. Grow some facial hair and this, that, and the other thing. And long story short, took a flight to Miami. I was offered an AFJRTC teaching job on the spot at Booker T. Washington Senior High School in Overtown. And I'll tell you what, it was probably the best decision that I ever made in my life.
So let me ask you something real quick to put a pause on that. something significant happened in Miami. Stem cell research.
Yep.
How about that story?
Yeah.
Do you mind adding that to it?
Yeah, sure. So, right after I retired, about 4 months after I retired in March. In June, I was diagnosed with heart disease. So I had been having some like hot flashes on my back. I didn't really have any what you would consider symptoms of like heart attack, heart disease, things like that, things of that nature. I was 38. I just turned 38. That was the furthest thing from my mind was heart disease. You know, I felt like I was still in pretty good shape. I was running, 3 or 4 times a week, still working out, pretty active. So I just wasn't feeling well. I went to the VA down there in Miami. They did some initial tests, and I just told the doctor straight out, I said, hey, man, I'm 38 years old. I want to see my kids grow up. There's something wrong with me. So I just kept pushing him to get deeper test results done. So they did a walking stress test. It was the day after Father's Day in 2008, the day after Father's Day. They put me on the treadmill, did a walking stress test. I couldn't stay on the treadmill for 2 minutes. Just started getting this hot flash, got tired, had to get off. Long story short, they read the results. The nurse sent me right upstairs to the cardiovascular folks up at the hospital, and they said, yeah, well, something's not working right. Like the bottom of your heart's not pumping as strong as the top heart. We want to do like an angiogram on you. They wanted to send a probe up and look inside my heart and see if everything was going.
It's scary, huh?
Yeah, for sure. Especially at 38 years old, So he asked me, the doc was like, when do you want to come in? I said, tomorrow. This time I had been waiting probably about 3 months to get this test done. Right. So then next day they said, yeah, I should probably take, 35, 40 minutes. You'll be in the cardiac cath lab, and, we'll see what's going on in there, and we'll probably have to do an angioplasty and put a stent in. And, he said, you'll be fine. 30, 40 minutes, you'll be out. So, all right. So sign me up. Let's do it. I wanted to get back to working out and running and doing the things that I like to do. So I get in there. I get, of course, typical hospital thing. You get in there at 8 o'clock. You don't get seen till 4. So that you sit there and have to think about what you're going to go through for the next 6 hours or 7 hours. And they brought me back. I was on the table probably an hour. I started looking at the clock, hour and a half. I'm starting to think, well, they told me 30 minutes. This probably isn't going to be good. So the doctor comes in. He says, hey, we're going to go ahead and close you up. We got some things we need to discuss with you. So, of course, at that time, I'm like, yep, something's going on. So he pops out, comes back in and says, hey, you have scar tissue on your heart. Anybody who knows anything about physiology and kinesiology of the body knows that if you have scar tissue on your heart, that you've had a heart attack. So, yeah, that was quite a blow to me. And the doctor was very matter-of-fact about it. He kind of taps me on the leg. He goes, all right, go ahead and let that sink in for a few minutes. I'll be right back, and we can go over some of the things that we can do with you. So he comes popping back in, and he says, hey, this is what we can do. He says, we can schedule for a triple bypass. You'll have a regular, normal, healthy life. I'm like, or we could actually put you in this new stem cell protocol through the University of Miami Stem Cell Institute, where what they'll do is they'll take cells from your body, regenerate, spin them, and pull out the stem cells and inject them in your heart with the hopes that it will
grow, right?
Right, exactly, that it will regenerate your cardiac tissue. So luckily, I had just moved from Las Vegas being a betting man. I had a 66% chance to get my cells, so I was all about it.
Wow.
Yeah. So it was a tough summer that summer. So that was in June. I had to go through a ton of testing and all this other stuff. 30 days later, my PSA levels came back elevated. So at one point, there was a 30-day period where I thought I might have had prostate cancer and heart disease at the same time.
Wow.
Yeah, a lot of nights praying, and a lot of nights just staying up, and.
But you persevered and
yeah,
went through it.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, I sure did.
And then your journey. So you went back into JROTC and moved on somewhere else.
Yep. Well, I stayed at Booker T for about 4 years. Ended up losing my position because of some cutbacks. I had at that time I had hadn't even had my associate's degree. So I went back to school. I was working on my associate's degree. Finished my associate's degree in 2010.
Okay.
Then I decided that I wanted to go ahead and pursue my bachelor's degree, just to continue on, because at that time, they came out with the post 9/11 GI Bill, so I could go to school and make a little bit of money, and then I actually started doing the athletic performance training full time, because I was the head strength and conditioning coach at this school as well. So I had some good connections in the area. So yeah, I decided that I fell in love with working with athletes, and a lot of the kids that I trained them for free, because they just come from an impoverished area in Miami, and I just wanted to give them the quality coaching that I knew that they deserved and that they needed. So,
so what do you think is what's your proudest? So you influenced athletes. Like, which of your athletes have they accomplished? Have anyone went?
I've had a couple of guys that have played I've had probably over 30 guys, 40 guys that have actually played Division I football. I've had a couple of sprinters. I have got one professional soccer player from Miami. These guys were all from Miami when I was working down there. I have several guys that are actually on NFL rosters or were on NFL rosters at one time. So it was very, very gratifying to kind of see these kids kind of maturate from, little kids, teenagers to now graduating college, and now a lot of them now are moms and dads, and they still reach out to me through Facebook and, hey, Coach Brown, you're always one of my favorite coaches, and this, that, and the other thing, and it makes you feel good,
right?
And
it's funny because coaches are they're the type of people who inspire, lead, discipline. That's got to be significant, your life story, and how you inspire and motivate. Because through athletics and training, people sometimes want to quit or give up. And some of the leadership tips, that I share with people is like, a lot of folks sometimes are very quick to give up, not, because you're in a down, but, don't give up, because there is something very significant and positive if you keep persevering and working through it. And so I think that's really awesome, what you do. So you went to Miami, and now you're back here.
That's right.
What brought you back here?
Yeah. I came, actually, well, there were a couple of things that brought me back here. The shitty winters back in Connecticut, that was one. And then I came out here and met you and met your new wife at the time, Lynn, went to your wedding, and realized that it was really comforting coming back here and landing after being, on the road basically for 30 years. I mean, I grew up in Massachusetts, so from 18 to 38, I popped around all over the place.
Right.
Never felt really at home in Miami, so I ended up moving back to Connecticut, which was close to home. Most of my family's there. I loved it there. The 2 years that I spent there, I loved it. I took another JROTC job up in Connecticut, did that for a while just so I could make some cash and, do some things. And I was hoping to grow roots back there again, but I spent 2 winters there, and it sucked. So, like I said, as I landed here, it was February of
was it 2018?
18? Yeah.
18. Right.
Yep. So we it's just weird. I just felt like I was at home as I was landing, and I was like, you know what? I'm moving back to Vegas.
Yeah, I can relate to that, because us both being Air Force, traveling all over the world, and then something about Las Vegas just feels like home. I always tell people you can feel like you're living a regular life, wherever you live, and then if you want to get all Gucci'd up and take your significant other to a great meal and a show and
Bazaar Meats, drop $750 on a meal,
succulent pig,
and it sucked. It really did suck.
Oh
no, the food was good.
No, the price
the experience was good.
Yeah,
but shout out to Bazaar Meats, by the way.
Okay.
And their sucky pig.
The succulent pig.
Oh, succulent pig. That's right.
Yes, succulent pig.
Right.
So let me ask you this, man. So you did an Air Force career. You persevered. One thing that we didn't talk about is that you were at Kobar Towers when it was bombed.
Yep.
Stem cell research with your heart.
Right.
Leading, inspiring kids in athletics and in junior ROTC.
Okay.
Right? And so what would your, what is the Barry Brown, you know what I mean? What is the model? What is your mantra, today on your life lessons that you've learned that you would communicate out to the listeners out there?
Yeah. Just treat people with respect. That's the main thing. Just there's too much hate and divisiveness going around these days, man, and people pointing fingers, and there's just not enough love being spread around. And that's one thing that I've realized after my surgery in 2008. We only go around this world one time. Take advantage of your life, make a difference in other people's lives. If you find that young kid or that's looking for a mentor, be that big brother, be that big sister, and just show them some love, man. It's not always about receiving the likes on Instagram or Facebook and trying to put the stuff out there that, hey, look at me.
Right.
It's about, hey, look at us. Let's try to spread some more love and positive energy out here, and just be a good person.
That's easy to do, but some just choose not to. It was funny. I was having a dialogue about, the love and coming together and the inclusiveness and community. And to me, it all starts at home. It starts how, you were brought up. And, and it was funny because, you make these observations and, I'm out walking the day after the 4th of July, and, you walk through your neighborhood that, you're supposed to have some pride in your community. And there's folks out there who just lit fireworks and left their trash out there. And I'm like, I wonder what else you teach your kids. You don't even take pride in your community, and you're not teaching your kids to be responsible and accountable. And I think that's kind of where it starts, because if you're not teaching the basics, what else are you not teaching? And then, they become these young adults, or they become adults, and their lenses are a little different, and you're kind of at a disadvantage to understand the perspectives of others, So yeah, I agree. We definitely need a lot more love. Las Vegas has been significantly impacted, through COVID, and then we have a lot of these social issues right now that are a big topic, whether it's law enforcement or just, communities. Yeah, that's a big thing, and I agree with that. So Exercise Elite, do you have any social media? Where can people find you? Is there a phone number they can call? Is there certain demographics you're targeting? Where do you work out of?
Yeah, we work out of Body Sport Performance Training on 1922 Rock Springs Drive. We're right off of Lake Mead and the 95. So right next to the giant In-N-Out burger. So you will come and work out and get your delicious post-meal double protein style from In-N-Out.
And there's a pink box down the street from there too, right?
There's a pink box as well.
That's the whole reason why I lift weights.
There's a pink box, exactly. Yep. Yeah. So we're still working on a lot of our social media. If you want to try to check out my Instagram is B Brown Strength, Las Vegas Strength Coach. That's ours. And then the Exercise Elite Las Vegas Strength and Conditioning on Instagram. So we've got two of those going on. Working on our website. Lots of big things going to be happening with us this year. 2021 is going to be huge. We are probably going to be growing out of the facility that we're in right now. So that's things are definitely looking up. So
you need a bigger facility.
Yeah, for sure. So
well, I'm going to tell you what. I just worked out in Movement Fitness, huge 25,000 square foot facility right out off of Flamingo across from the PBS.
Mm-hmm.
Nice facility out there. If you need more space, that might be an option for you. So what else, man? What else is on your mind? What else would you like to share? I don't know if they want to hear about our stories of
maybe we have to leave
on the couch.
Yeah, we'll probably have to save those for another session. So let me flip the script here. So what's going on in your life?
Trying to retire from the Air Force. I did 28 years. I think you met me when I was a senior
Senior
airman,
airman.
about to be demoted for the second time or something like that.
Yep.
And then somehow, some way, I made it to the top 1%. Looking to start.
Kudos to you, to your perseverance as well.
Yeah. So same career field as you.
Taking care of people.
Taking care of people. Leadership Las Vegas Alumni 2020. So trying to get out in the community and learn a different area of community service besides serving the nation in our airmen. But I'm trying to bridge that gap. I really, really think that having both perspectives, I learned how much as a community we are in the Air Force behind those gates, that we get very comfortable. You know what I mean? And I really, really want to try to bring my lessons and the things I've learned and bridge that gap a little bit more and make sure that, you know, some of our airmen understand what exists out here. And then there's a lot of people in the community who don't know what happens behind those gates. I mean, they see the planes fly over and the jets, and they know the air shows. But I learned a lot. You know, they don't really know how to distinct, you know, like, hey, you're in the Air Force, what plane do you fly? Well, I don't.
MKT.
Yeah, I don't fly, yeah. And that don't even exist. That just shows our age, anymore. So, you know, and then, you know, London.
Yep.
Your 3-month-old, number 6 child in the family. So trying to raise a baby, transition out of the Air Force into a new career with being a new dad. It's a lot to juggle, and the inaugural podcast. So I'm sure we will get a lot of feedback. I hope we do from the people we know, and they'll be like, man,
you guys suck.
Chief, you are terrible, man.
You guys are really bad.
And of all the people you pick is your friend who's just as great. Yeah. So, but you know, I know, you know, me and you, like, you know, we've always had, I think we've always leaned on the side of fun.
Yeah, for sure.
And sarcasm and humor. And then that's kind of been our coping mechanisms through the years, whether we're deployed to the Middle East or, you know, we're just enjoying life out here. Cause I remember when you moved here, it was like, dude, like, this is it, you know, it's time to rock and roll and live that dream.
Yep.
And the next thing you know, we're just sheltering in place.
Yeah.
Trying to figure out what mask is cooler to wear, you know.
I got a pretty cool one.
Yeah, I see that. What is that?
Red Horse mask.
So what is Red Horse?
Red Horse is a mobile construction unit, really high-speed unit that's in the Air Force. I spent my last few years as the superintendent of the Red Horse unit here out in Las Vegas. So they kind of go to austere environments, and they their main unit is rapid runway repair. That's their main focus. But they basically go and construct housing developments basically in the middle of nowhere, and they do a lot of humanitarian efforts and things like that, like building schools and clinics and a lot of that good stuff. So shout out to the men and the women of the 820th Red Horse here at Nellis Air Force Base in Nevada.
I think they have a slogan, right? To the horse.
To the horse.
To the horse.
That's it.
That is
so
awesome.
I posted up a photo on my Facebook yesterday. I don't know if you saw it or not, about it didn't take the government, or I've been shutting down bars long before the government told us that we needed to. Yeah, that was immediately thought of all my Red Horse compadres out there. So we work hard, play hard. That's another one of our slogans. But yeah, it was probably the best actual assignment in my 20 years serving, and it was one of the last ones. So yeah, it was great.
That is fantastic.
Yeah.
Well, Barry, brother, man, I'm very grateful for you coming out. You know, if there was anyone in this world that I'd picked for my first time doing a podcast, it'd be you. And so I'm appreciating it, you know what I mean? And then hopefully, you know, we get to watch it and laugh, you know, and have,
well, I'm sure we'll laugh.
You know, have lots of laughs, you know what I mean? But yeah, man, and I'm so grateful for your service and what you do for the community now, and to a lifelong friendship and many, many, many more years to come as our hips get worse and our joints get worse, and we're not like what we used to be when we met in 1999. So wrapping up, you know, hey, get your exercise elite on.
That's it.
You know what I mean? So
702-427-4122.
Man. So on a parting message, this is what I'd share, and I'd ask you to tag on if you think, listen, everybody, man, we love and perseverance can get us through a lot of stuff, but you have to be open-minded, you know what I mean? And you have to come to the table with a desire to learn and problem solve. Don't give up, because you never know what the end state and the big prize is going to be. And I appreciate you guys for listening. This is Kicking It with KJ. coming live out of the Living Large Las Vegas studios.